Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. We've got a lot to get through today, so let's get straight into it with our quickfire thoughts for the week. Firstly, great to see a member, Simo14, having an 11 to 1 winner just a few days ago, as it was previously one of my Nagmies. It had two runs that I think it finished second, and then it was fifth or sixth, and then it bounced back and won 11 to 1. So great to see that people are listening and sticking with it. Don't give up on them after just a couple of runs. So let's get on to the ones that caught my eye from the last week and with the handicap marks that have just come out. The first one we're going to talk about very quickly is Hold the Note. Hold the Note finished fourth at the weekend in a novice chase. When stepped back up to 3 mile again, and 3 mile I don't think he stays. I know he ran a cracker at Warwick when he got run down by 2 for Gold. But he looks like he wants 2.5, and this 2.5 race at Cheltenham was a really good race. Imperial Aura won the race, Galvin was second, and Watmore was fourth. Dropping back to 2.5 mile, and I think it'll be very, very interesting in a handicap chase, back down to 145, which was the mark that he ran off at Cheltenham. So keep an eye on Hold the Note. 2 for Gold is another one that caught my eye, having dropped in trip significantly to 2 miles 3. He's gone up £2, and I don't think that'll be enough to stop him when he goes back over more suitable trips. As I said, he beat Hold the Note at Warwick, where with Watmore back in third. That was a grade 2 over 3 mile. They dropped him back in trip for his seasonal reappearance, and he ran well for a long way. Just got caught by Huntsman's Son, who travelled a bit better and probably had a bit more turn of foot than 2 for Gold. So keep an eye on 2 for Gold when he steps back up in trip. I don't think his new mark of 148 is too high for him. A horse that disappointed me at the weekend, to be honest, was Abacadabras. Finished second behind Aspire Tower at Down Royal. For me, that isn't champion hurdle class, and that was worrying for me. Hopefully he needed the run. He wasn't as strong as I thought he might be in the betting, and hopefully he'll be much better next time. The next horse that we want to look at is a horse called Sometimes Always. He's unfortunately gone up £5 for finishing second, which is very frustrating, considering he wandered a little bit in between the last two, and also after the last he wasn't as straightforward as he could have been. He got run down by Top Rated, so I think the form will work out well, but he did go up £5 for that, which is very frustrating for connections. I do think he's interesting though, because he's only had the 4 runs. That was his handicap debut. 121 might still be underestimating him. Editor de Geet, as you can see, has been taken out of races the last 2 of his last 3 runs at Fontwell and Wincanton before making his return this season at Ascot, where he tried to make most of the running. He looked like he had skipped away, probably turning in, but was just caught by Sully Doc R for Anthony Honeyball, who had a treble that day. So the form will probably work out well. I think Anthony had his horses ready. Editor de Geet did go up £5 for that. He went up to 5 to 125, but he's similar to Sometimes Always, very lightly raced in the UK, and could now be ready to actually get going in the UK after 2 pulled up effort at Sandown and a 6th of 6th at Kempton. But the second race was in a grade 2 novice chase, so they clearly think quite a bit of him. So to see him running off 125 next time with that run under his belt, I think he can go close again. Falco Blitz disappointed me back in 5th place. I thought he would go very close here. I think the drop in trip was right. They might now go back up in trip to 2.5. He did drop £2 for that, down to 130, and that was his chase debut in a handicap. It wouldn't surprise me to see him run a much better race next time, especially with that run under his belt and fitness now assured. Some of his previous form behind the likes of Jatalui and McFabulous was good form, so you can't write him off just after that one run over fences. Ibleo finished second at Ascot to Amula Gold, who was our top-rated horse that day. With that in mind, I think the form will work out very well, and it was his first run for a little while, about 7 months or nearly 8 months, whereas Amula Gold had already had the run. Ibleo travelled well, jumped well, looked like he was going to win it quite comfortably, but was just run down late on by the fast-finishing Amula Gold. They pulled 7 lengths clear. Ibleo has gone up £5 to 137, but I don't think that'll be enough to stop him, and I think he can go close again next time out. Countista was sent off 15 to 2 for a handicap at Ascot, the Sodexo handicap, and just looked. I don't think she likes soft ground, and she's disappointed a few times now on soft and heavy. Probably her best run of her career was on good to soft at Cheltenham, when she was third in a county hurdle for a mark of 133. She's now down to a mark of 130, which is very, very eye-catching, I think. And they could be similar sort of plot to Dame de Compagnie. I don't think they'll run in the Coral Cup, but I think they might aim this one back at the county hurdle. So don't be surprised if she turns up off a very low weight in the county hurdle. It'll be interesting to see where they go with her next. She's a Supermac, just makes my thoughts because she is very unlucky. She was travelling, jumping really well at air, and then made 2 terrible mistakes at the last 2 and got beat. She went up £7 for that second, that unlucky second. She went up £7, which is really going to hurt New Connections, as you can see. New colours on now. And I'm sure Ian Jardine would have been very annoyed when he saw that this morning. Verdana Bleu is interesting. Now, I think Verdana Bleu needs to step up and trip. If you can finish second in a race over 2 miles 3 or nearly 2 miles 4 on the flat, I think you want 3 miles. And I just think Verdana Bleu is now just not quick enough to go with them over 2. Despite that, she's finished second in 2 good races, a listed event at Kempton and then a listed event at Wetherby. And although she's been beaten at odds on, she was only narrowly beaten by Mrs. Hyde at Wetherby. She dropped £4 for that, down to 151. That would get her in the Pertemps Final if she could qualify. Just keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on if she runs in if they step her up in trip and potentially run her in a qualifier. I wouldn't mind seeing her over 2.5, but I think 3 mile will suit her even more. So that's a little bit of a outside the box thinking one there. La Bagoa, I thought she ran well in the Charlie Hall when she finished 5th. She travelled much better than she normally does and was able to keep up and run a good race behind the likes of Surname, Vindication and I Right. Now she was dropped £2 for that to a mark of 145. That would allow her to run in the 3 mile handicap chase at Kempton on the 27th of December. Now obviously she's got very good form at Kempton. She's won a Calto Star. She has won a listed event there over hurdles. The OLBG Mares listed hurdle. She's very good at Kempton. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't run her in that handicap. She's probably not going to be good enough for Grade 1 events, or at least not at the beginning of the season. She's just struggling. I think they would have preferred her to go a bit closer at Perth if they really thought she was a Grade 1 animal. And yeah, that handicap really appeals to me on the 27th of December. Mr. Whittaker also caught my eye. Again, he's a similar one to Hold the Note. And it's interesting that it's a Mick Shannon, Mr. Radford horse. I don't think he stays 3 miles. Look at his form. He was 6th over 3 mile. He pulled up over 3 mile. He pulled up over 3 mile at Cheltenham. He's a 2.5 mile horse. Look at his 3rd behind Simply the Bets. That's a very good run. Behind Simply the Bets, Happy Diva, in front of Old Grangewood, Spirit of the Games, and others. And the handicapper dropped him back to 152, the same mark that he was 3rd at the Cheltenham Festival. That's about the sort of mark he wants, and there's plenty of 2.5 handicap chases coming up at Cheltenham, or they could be aiming at a long season for the Brown Advisory Stable Plate again. So if they keep running over 3 mile, I think he may struggle to get home. But 2.5, I think, is his trip. Ravenhill. Ravenhill, I thought, we've obviously already highlighted Ravenhill for staying handicap chases. And I thought he ran a really good race at Down Royal in the Ladbrokes Champion Chase. Strange name, a champion chase when it's over 3 mile, and we all think of the Queen Mother Champion Chase, which is over 2 mile. He's just not quick enough for 3 mile, and that was a good race. You know, he went off 125 to 1. He's never going to win that. But as soon as he goes back over 3 mile 3, 3 mile 4, 3 mile 5, I will be very interested in Ravenhill. The last horse or horses to talk about, Ballyadam, Envoy Sir Gerard or Gerhard. All very impressive. All did what was expected. Very difficult to work out what they beat. I thought Envoy shortening for the Marsh Novice was laughable, to be honest. I know he won. He won very comfortably in a beginner's chase. He was 14 to 1 on. He beat nothing. January Jets, who he beat, was rated 128 over hurdles. How is that? You know, he beat nothing, and yet they still felt he was worthy of shortening. If he had had jumping issues, we would have heard about it. So I think that was terrible from the bookmakers. So yeah, there's some of my horses that I think were interesting. Hold the Note, 2 for Gold, Sometimes Always, Edited Geet, Falco Blitz, Ibleo, Countista, Verdana Bleu, Le Bagois, Mr. Whittaker and Ravenhill, and some notes on a few others. Fingers crossed that I've highlighted some future winners there, and have a great rest of the week. I hope if you did get up to watch the Melbourne Cup, it was enjoyable, and let's have some lots of winners this week. Cheers, guys.